If you've ever answered questions or complaints about long wait times on the Libby app or the inability to even check anything out on Hoopla, you know it can be frustrating for both you and your customers. But as you likely know, the problem is bigger than your collection budget, and I think we need to start talking about it with our community. So I'm going to tell you how to discuss the ebook pricing issues with your community with the help of a new toolkit on this episode of the Library Marketing Show. Hi everyone, I'm Angela Hursh from superlibrarymarketing.com. Head on over there and look for the Library Marketing Show tab to suggest a topic that I can talk about in the next episode, or to nominate your library or another library for our kudos. Again today with kudos, and this is a nomination, and the nomination goes to Jervis Public Library in Rome, New York. So one of my viewers wrote in and said, the library offers tours of the historic portion of the complex every summer. However, the newest full-time member of the library team teamed up with another librarian to create a fantastic short video that they put on Instagram and Facebook to promote the house tour. The person who wrote in said, this is something I would have never created. I wholeheartedly support their eye for relevance, reaching an age group that we often fail to attract, the 20-somethings. They know what will appeal to their peers. I'm going to put a link down below to the video. It's pretty cute. It uses a trending Sabrina Carpenter song. Great job, Jervis Public Library. All right, let's get into today's topic, which is the ebook pricing crisis. So the Urban Libraries Council recently released a toolkit to help libraries explain this to their patron base. Now, I know urban library councils is usually for large libraries, but this toolkit works for even small libraries. I took a look through it. It's really interesting. I'll put a link down below so you can get started with it. Typically, in the toolkit, they talk about how we often in marketing, in a crisis of this nature, we might use some language that would not be conversational to our patrons. So they don't know about perpetual licenses or metered access or what a DRM is. They don't care even. What they really care about is, why am I having to wait 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks for my hold to come in? The toolkit recommends that you connect that wait directly to something people can really understand. So for example, you could say, libraries often pay 4 to 5 times more for an ebook than a customer would. And unlike print books, we don't actually own the copy that we're serving to you. Licenses may expire after 2 years or after a certain number of checkouts, and that forces us to buy the same title again and again. And in fact, that messaging, besides being simple, is really relatable, because it means that we're trying to tell patrons that the long waits are not caused by poor budgeting or by poor planning on the library's part. They are built into the system. It also suggests that we start showing, not telling. And in that way, I think what they mean is, instead of just saying ebooks are really expensive and hard for us to get, they want us to show exactly what we have paid for the newest bestseller compared to the print version. You can make an infographic and lay it out with a price comparison. You might even want to think about a graphic that has the print price, the ebook price, and then how long the license lasts to really round out that comparison. The last thing I saw, I think really struck a chord with me. The kit tells us or advises us to not attack publishers. Don't make publishers the evil villain in this story. Instead, frame it as a partnership problem. You can work some language around the fact that libraries do want to pay authors fairly for their work. Publishers deserve to make money, but that libraries need a licensing model that allows them to fulfill their mission of providing equitable access to materials. And if you're wondering why ULC doesn't want us to make publishers villains, it really has to do with the way messages like that resonate with our patrons. If you make the publisher a villain, the people are less likely to listen to you, because it sounds like you're blaming or finger pointing. As much as I or you may personally think publishers are to blame, we need to reframe that so that we get our community to listen to us and understand what the problem is, and then take action, which is to call for legislation that regulates the price of ebooks for libraries, or to write publishers to ask them for better pricing models for libraries. Those kinds of messages from communities and readers could be really powerful. So if you'd like to look at the whole toolkit, like I said, I'm going to put a link down below. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, it'll be in the first comment. And I'm curious if your library has done any messaging around the ebook pricing crisis. If so, can you put examples of what you've done so far down below in the comments? I'm sure my other viewers would be really interested to see those examples, and I certainly would as the communications person for a large library with a huge ebook budget. And that's it for today's episode of the Library Marketing Show. But my channel is full of other tips for library marketing. If you're interested in learning more, head to the next video. I will meet you there.